Welcome back to my channel. I am back with another review. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so that you know every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much to everybody who has subscribed to my channel. I appreciate you all. And let's just get right into this review. So this episode picks up where the last one left off, where Summer and Slim end up getting into a fight outside of the new baddie's house, and then when the fight gets broken up, they end up going inside where the OGs finally end up arriving, and they see that Slim's wig is sitting on the counter. So Rollie starts questioning Slim as to why her wig is off, and Slim tries to tell her that the reason why her wig is off is because she got into a fight with Summer before entering the house. Now Rollie starts talking to Slim like she's a child, literally telling her that she's not supposed to be fighting, that the only reason why she's there is to be her assistant. And when Slim tries to respond defending herself, explaining why she actually ended up fighting Summer, Natalie jumps in and starts telling Slim that she needs to shut up when Rollie's talking. And that really got under my skin when Natalie said that to Slim, because she's allowed to defend herself and explain herself. She doesn't need to let Rollie talk over her just because Rollie thinks she's the boss. I don't even know why Natalie gave Rollie the authority to decide another girl's fate in the house. Like, she should not be able to decide whether or not a girl gets to stay or go. And they did this with Slim only because they knew that they could get away with it with Slim. She's a lot smaller than them, and even if she tries to defend herself, she's going to be overpowered by Rollie, and everybody's just going to sit there and watch it happen like they did. So she knows that she can get away with doing this with Slim, because if she tried this with any of these other girls in the house, I don't think it would have flied at all. And so in front of everybody, once again, Rollie ends up asking Slim if she still wants the position as her assistant, and Slim says that yes, she still wants to be the assistant because that's the only way she's able to stay on the show, which I wish she would just say that she doesn't want the assistant position and fuck the show. She doesn't want to be a part of it anymore if this is what she has to go through to be on the show. Because to be honest with you, this whole situation with Rollie bullying Slim and holding the purse strings on whether or not she gets to stay on the show, and then everybody else jumping in to gang up on her the way that they have been, has been really disgusting for me to watch. Like, it really is gross to watch this happen. I just wish that Slim would leave. I mean, I do like Slim and I would like to see her be on the show as an actual cast member and not somebody's assistant. However, if this is how they're going to treat her, because I honestly feel like they only brought her on the show to humiliate her, I feel like she should just leave, to be honest with you. So then Natalie ends up turning her attention to Diamond the Body, who was crying at the end of last week's episode on the bus because she said that something was going on back at home and she just felt like the drama going on in the house was really affecting her. So Natalie ends up asking her what exactly is going on at home that's affecting her being on the show, and she said that her aunt is sick, and at this point the doctors are saying that there's nothing they can do, and it's basically a wait and see game. Like, wait and see what happens, see if she gets better. But Diamond the Body feels like she needs to go home to make sure that if something does happen to her aunt, she's at least there to say her final goodbyes. And I understand where she's coming from, and I think that she should go home and be there with her family at this time. She can always come back for another season because a lot of people do like Diamond the Body, and I'm pretty sure they'll bring her back for another season. So I think it's completely fine for her to go home, and I like that all the girls were supporting her when she was crying, because people have real emotions and real things going on back at home. That's why I was not feeling Summer in last week's episode when she was going off on Diamond the Body, telling her that she knew what she signed up for when she was on the bus crying, because you don't know what somebody's going through. I mean, I felt like Summer needed to calm down a little bit and take it down a notch when it came to Diamond crying, because at the end of the day, you don't know what somebody's going through, and it's okay to not be strong all the time. It's okay to cry, and just because you want to be considered a baddie doesn't mean you can't have sympathy or compassion for another person when they're going through a hard time. So I really didn't like that Summer was acting that way towards Diamond the Body. Now, after they had the whole conversation with Diamond the Body about whether or not she's going to stay or she's going to go home, that's when Natalie decides to kick things up a notch and say that she wants somebody to go home. And she ends up calling out Emma, saying that she likes Emma and she thinks that she's cool and thinks that she's pretty, but lately she has been fading into the background and she feels like she's kind of being a little bit boring. And so Emma understood and knew that she was going to be the person that got sent home. She did say that her father was sick, and that was definitely affecting her time on the show. However, she was crying a little bit and said that she appreciated the opportunity. Now, I didn't think that Emma was necessarily boring at first, but she became boring as time went on because she kind of faded into the background. Although there's some of the OGs that fade into the background a lot too, and they fade into the background every single season. So I don't think that it's right to send any of the new girls home. I think they should all be able to stay and get a full season so that people can get to see who they are. But Natalie did what she felt she needed to do, and honestly, I feel like Emma dug her own grave in this situation, because I don't think that people would have been focused on whether she was boring or not had she not called out Scotty in the very first episode, saying that Scotty was boring and that she was there to take her place, because that made people zoom in on Emma and watch every little thing she was doing every single episode to point out that she was also as boring as she was trying to say that Scotty was. So she did that to herself. I do kind of like Emma a little bit. I just didn't like the situation with Slim when she was talking shit about Slim in the confessional, saying that Slim couldn't stay in the house, because honestly, they didn't want her in the house either because she just got kicked out. But even though Emma was the only person that got sent home, she was not the only person on the chopping block, because Natalie also ended up calling out Summer, which a lot of people were shocked about. Summer seemed to be completely shocked that she was up for elimination from Natalie, but Natalie said it wasn't because Summer is boring, but because she's been doing too much. Like, she's been really reckless behind the scenes, and it's been affecting production and everything like that. And I believe it, because the way that Summer acts, I believe that she definitely is causing problems in the background. Like they said, she was peeing on the bus and messing up the sprinters, and it was costing them money. So I definitely feel like Summer needed that wake-up call from Natalie calling her out, saying that she was up for elimination, because she was getting a little bit too cocky and confident on the show. And to me, she's not very likable. Like, she does have her funny moments, but she's doing too much a little bit too. And to no surprise, Natalie also ends up calling out Jaden, who wasn't there at the time, but Natalie did say that Jaden is always absent from the show because she always has other things that she has to do. Like, she's booked and busy, so she's never really there, and she feels like Jaden is falling into the background. Now, I feel like Jaden has been falling into the background. I thought she was just there because obviously she's really known because of the situation with Krishan and Blueface, so I felt like she was just on the show as a celebrity guest. I don't feel like she was there for anything other than that. I don't think she was there to actually bring something to the show. However, I wouldn't mind her going home. I wouldn't mind her or Akbar going home, because I feel like they haven't really been bringing anything to the season. But Natalie definitely did call out Jaden and say that she was up for elimination. But then surprisingly, Natalie ended up calling out Jayla of all people, saying that Jayla has been falling into the background and she's been a little bit too quiet, and she basically puts her up for elimination. And I was so confused by that, because Natalie and Jayla are supposed to be friends, and I think that there's other OGs that could be up for elimination other than Jayla. And I'm not even a fan of Jayla, and I'm not one of those bandwagoners who just stopped liking her a few seasons ago. No, I did not like Jayla when she was on the Bad Girls Club, okay? I thought she did too much. I thought she was up the twins' ass, and I didn't like the way that she kicked that girl out of the house that season for no reason at all. Like, she literally packed that girl's things and sent her packing for no reason at all. So I wasn't a fan of Jayla on Bad Girls Club. However, I don't think that she should have been put up for elimination, because I think there's a lot of other OGs that could have been sent home other than her. And look, Jayla was taken aback by this because she was not expecting Natalie to call her out, because they're supposedly supposed to be friends. Clearly, they don't have a real friendship, but I did think it was weird that Natalie decided to call her out. But Natalie kind of puts all the OGs on blast and lets them know that they all need to step it up, because she's bringing in some replacements, and now everybody is confused trying to figure out what replacement she's bringing. I know that Tommy is supposed to come in at some point, but I don't know who else is coming. But I hope that they do better with the replacements this season than they did last season, because we barely got to see any of the replacements last season. Like, that was completely pointless. Then Natalie ends up pulling out a box with a Baddies chain in it and says that she's giving away a Baddies chain to somebody who she feels deserves it, and then she gives it to Big Lex, which I was glad that Big Lex ended up getting her chain, because I felt like she should have got her chain. She should have gotten her chain before Jasmine, not just because she fights, but because when they're at the club, you see her turning up with everybody, dancing to everybody's music. She's always laughing, smiling, clapping, and dancing. So I feel like she should have got her Baddies chain, but I'm glad that she got it now. And she was extremely appreciative to get the chain, and I love that she was happy about it. Now, Anna seemed to have a little bit of a problem. She didn't have a problem with Big Lex getting her chain, but she did make a comment, but she claims that it wasn't directed towards Big Lex. It was directed at Summer, because she felt like this time Summer was happy because Big Lex got a chain, but the last time a chain was given out and it was given to Jasmine, she was acting up and she snatched it off Jasmine's neck, which is true. Summer did do the most when Jasmine got her chain, but I didn't see Anna saying that to Ivori, because Ivori let them know straight up that if Big Lex would have gotten that chain that day instead of Jasmine, she was going to fight whoever gave her the chain, and she was going to snatch it off Big Lex's neck. So I feel like she has to keep the same energy with everybody. Then Anna gets in her confessional and said that Natalie needs to stop giving out baddies chains because it's making them not important by giving them out to too many people. And it's like, girl, you're only saying that because Big Lex got her chain, because she definitely didn't say that when Jasmine got a chain, and she didn't say that when Ivori got a chain, or when Diamond the Body got her chain this season too. I mean, some of the OGs don't deserve a baddies chain, and they all got one. So I just feel like they're trying to say that to all these new girls when some of these new girls deserve a baddies chain over some of the OGs. So I just don't get what she's talking about. Natalie also lets them know that Nunu is staying and she's not going home. And so obviously Anna and Biggie had some things to say about that, because they feel like they're the reason why Nunu is still on the show. Even if they were the reason why she's still on the show, she proved herself enough for them to want her to stay, because even if she did have beef with Anna and Biggie, if she wasn't entertaining enough, they would have sent her home. Now, the next day, Rollie ends up sitting down with some of the newbies and also Akbar V, and she starts asking them what exactly went down with Slim and Summer on the bus. And Summer and Dolly were very talkative during this conversation. I don't know why Dolly was talking, because it had nothing to do with her, but her and Summer started saying that Slim came on the bus and she had an attitude and she was pressing Summer. So basically they were saying that Slim was the one that started the trouble on the bus. And I mean, it is true, Slim did come on the bus and she addressed Summer, but I feel like she had a reason to, because the previous episode, Summer started coming at her and fighting her for absolutely no reason when she didn't even know her. So I felt like Slim was justified in coming at Summer the way she did on the bus. And I like that Akbar and Ivori were the ones that stood up and said that they felt like everybody was doing too much when it came to Slim. They felt like she was being bullied, and they feel like she shouldn't have been spoken to the way that she was spoken to. I really liked that Ivori wasn't afraid to step up to Rollie and tell her that the bullying of Slim was wrong, that everybody is coming at Slim because they feel like it's okay to come at her because Natalie and Rollie don't want her on the show. And I feel like she's right. They are taking advantage of the fact that Natalie isn't showing any respect to Slim, and neither is Rollie, so the other girls want to jump up and pile up on her too, and that's not right. And I was honestly surprised that Ivori was the one that stepped up and said that she thinks it's wrong the way that Slim was being treated, but I respect the fact that she did, because nobody else wanted to say it. And Rollie seemed to be really getting mad at the fact that Ivori had some sympathy for Slim, so she started yelling, shutting everybody up, saying that she doesn't want anybody giving Slim any sympathy because Slim knows exactly what she's doing, and Slim did that on purpose, talking about her son to piss her off. And now that she's mad about the situation with her son being mentioned, now she's giving Slim exactly what she wanted, which was attention. And look, Rollie is acting like she doesn't say nasty things about other people. I mean, just a week ago, Camila was saying that Rollie talked about her kids. I don't know if that's true or not, but Camila was saying that Rollie mentioned her children in an argument. And so if she can talk about other people's kids, then her son is not off limits. She talked about the girl's dead father. It doesn't matter what she was saying about him. It matters that she brought him up in the first place when she was in a beef with Slim. She did that on purpose to be disrespectful, and that's why Slim came after her son. I'm not saying it was right to come after her son, but if you talk about somebody else's relatives, why can't they talk about yours? So I felt like Rollie was playing a victim. So Slim walks into the room and she gets pissed off because she feels like Rollie is lying and she's not telling the way that things really went down. Because if you notice, every time Rollie gets into it with somebody or one of her friends, she makes it seem like they did her so wrong and she did nothing wrong at all, and it's just people being jealous of her, even though she falls out with everybody. So she plays a part in how these friendships end, but yet in every situation she acts like she's a victim in the situation. So Slim gets so pissed off that she tells Rollie to go F herself, and she says that she doesn't care about the assistant position, and she walks out of the room. Now the next day, some of the girls gather up in front of the house because they're getting ready to leave to go do an activity that Natalie and Scotty put together. And basically Tinkerbella sees Jaden and she starts telling Jaden that Natalie put her up for elimination because she feels like she's boring and she's not around enough. And Jaden was confused as to why she was put up for elimination, but when the girls started explaining to her that she kind of is not outspoken enough, she admitted that they were right and that she could do a little bit more to stand out, and so she said that she was going to do better. Now I like that she was receptive to what they were saying and she didn't flip out about it and make it a big deal, but I wouldn't mind if she got sent home either, because she's not really present and she's not really always around. Now basically Nunu was out there too, and so was Anna and Biggie, and basically Anna was saying that when friends are fighting on the show, outsiders need to mind their business, and that was obviously kind of directed at Nunu, because the reason why Anna and Nunu have beef to begin with is because Nunu inserted herself in some drama that happened between her and Mariah. And I do think that Nunu was wrong for getting involved in that situation, especially because Nunu didn't know that Mariah and Anna already talked out their issue before she brought it up up to Anna and got into it with her. But I also don't really agree with Anna when she says that when friends are fighting on the show, other people need to mind their business, because at the end of the day, you're fighting on a show in front of everybody else on the show, so they have every right to give their opinion on what's going on. So you can't really tell them that they need to stay out of it, because if you want people to stay out of your drama with your friend, maybe don't let the drama play out in front of everybody, because if you do it in front of people, people are going to give their opinions on it. Now, Anna and Nunu did agree that they would have a conversation away from everybody else at some point, but Anna did say in her confessional that she has no interest in being friends with Nunu or being cool with her at all, but she is willing to squash the beef. Now, Nunu said that she's not ready to squash the beef with Biggie yet because she wants get back because Biggie snuck her. Jayla and Natalie do end up having a one-on-one conversation, because obviously Jayla was upset that Natalie called her out in front of everybody and said that she was on the chopping block to get sent home because she wasn't fun enough. And so obviously Jayla has a right to feel the way that she feels, because Natalie is supposed to be her friend, even though we know that Natalie's not really anybody's friend, to be honest with you. If you watched Bad Girls Club season 4 or every other spinoff that she was on, you would know that Natalie's all for herself and she's not really anybody's friend. But in this situation, they're supposedly supposed to be friends. So Jayla definitely felt a way about it, and she said that she felt a way about it because fans already attack her and say that they don't think she should be on the show and that they don't like her, and she starts crying about it, and Natalie tells her to stop reading the comments online. Now, I understand that Jayla's feelings are hurt because she thought that the fans really did like her. However, some of the things that she's done over the years could rub people the wrong way, and that's why some people don't really like her at this point. But I do think that she should stop reading the comments, because that can really affect you if you're a sensitive person. Now, there's no fighting in this episode. They do end up going to do an activity. They go to the corn maze, and I know that some people said that this episode was boring because there was no physical fighting. However, I didn't think that it was as boring as some people were saying that it was, because people are never really satisfied. If they fight too much in an episode, then people say that it's only fighting and there's nothing else. And then when they do an episode where they're not fighting and they're doing something else, then people complain about that too. So it's like you can't satisfy everybody. But they go to the corn maze, and all the baddies are complaining that it's too cold, even though I don't understand why in the fall they would be wearing shorts in the first place. Like, why wouldn't you wear pants and sneakers when you know you're going to a corn maze? Like, that was stupid. They did a whole lot of complaining during the scene, and I felt like this scene lasted too long because the girls were just complaining the whole time. Now, Natalie wanted to spice things up a little bit, and she said that she'll give $5,000 to the person who finishes the maze first. Now, Anna and Rollie were cheating because they never actually went into the maze and did it like everybody else did. They just walked around the other side and ended up at the exit. And Jayla was actually the first one to finish the maze, and Rollie and Anna were trying to say that they were because they wanted the $5,000. I don't think that Natalie really gave anybody the $5,000, but if she did, I hope Jayla was the one that got it, because she did win fair and square. Now, they end up going on this hayride, okay? And Natalie starts asking the girls who they got close to this season. And Big Lex says that most of the new baddies got really close to Tinkerbella because, as you know, Tinkerbella, Diamond the Body, Biggie, and Rollie were all in the house with the new girls. And I kind of figured that they would like Tinkerbella the best because she seems like she's more interested in getting to know some of the new girls and talk to them. And she seems like a fun girl outside of when she's doing too much like she did in last week's episode. So I kind of knew that they were going to say Tinkerbella. But Summer definitely started some trouble on this hayride because all of a sudden she decides to call out Jayla and call her boring and say that she acts like she has a stick up her ass. And I really didn't know where that came from because I didn't know that Summer and Jayla had any issues with each other. Maybe Summer feels like she has to call out Jayla and make her seem like she's really boring so that she's the one who got sent home, because obviously Summer and Jayla were the two people that were up for elimination besides Jaden. And so I feel like maybe that's why Summer came at Jayla the way that she did. I wish Jayla would have paid her dust, to be honest with you, because even though I'm not a fan of Jayla, I think she's above arguing with somebody like Summer. And look, in the next episode, they showed some previews and it looked like Jayla was boxing Summer all up in her face in that boxing ring. So I'm interested to see what happens in next week's episode. So those are my thoughts on this week's episode of Baddies Midwest. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode down in the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button for me. I appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos and hit the notification bell so that you know every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much to everybody who has subscribed to my channel. I appreciate you all. And until next time, I will talk to you guys in my next video.